Cambodia, Tzu Chi volunteers hold a rice distribution and teach locals about the importance of recycling. Tzu Chi volunteers from Turkey returned to Taiwan to update Master Cheng Yen on their latest efforts. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee-Shioda. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi volunteers in Cambodia recently held a rice distribution for poor residents of Phnom Penh. An estimated 600 tons of rice from Taiwan will be distributed to 15,000 households. Although the area only has 5 Tzu Chi volunteers and 2 volunteers in training, they worked diligently to manage this immense responsibility. This abandoned railway track, a residential area, the scenery is widespread in Cambodia's capital of Phnom Penh. Besides those who scavenge for a living, no one else pays it any attention. However, at the rice distribution held by the Tzu Chi Phnom Penh Liaison Office, a change can be seen.
When I received the rice voucher, Tzu Chi volunteers told me to bring plastic bottles, the more the better.
Of the approximately 15 million people in Cambodia, over 63% of adults are illiterate. Volunteers hope to promote environmental sanitation education within the community.
Communities in Cambodia are filled with discarded plastic bottles, so we thought if they can't save money in the bamboo coin bank, they can collect recyclables and bring in plastic bottles which can be sold for charity.
Donating plastic bottles, residents can turn what was thought of as garbage into reusable resources. Volunteers are helping to cultivate compassion among the poor. This year, volunteers prepared 600 tons of rice to be distributed to 1,000 villages in 12 counties, ensuring 15,000 impoverished households won't go hungry anymore.
Tzu Chi enters their homes to fully understand what their needs are. We don't just help them one time, we offer continuous support.
This is helping the poor residents in Cambodia. I will fully cooperate with Tzu Chi volunteers to make this activity more successful.
Raising residents' awareness about compassionate giving, the value of education, and environmental conservation are the main objects of Tzu Chi volunteers' work in Cambodia. These diligent efforts have even won the recognition of this conservative government. Moving our focus to the United States, this year marks the 25th anniversary of the establishment of Tzu Chi's New York chapter. And to celebrate the annual Health Day event, TIMA members and the Queens County Dental Society collaborated to host a large-scale free clinic.
TIMA and Queens County Dental Society collaborate to host a large-scale free medical clinic at a 5-star hotel on Health Day. The quality of the medical service has been enhanced with electronic medical record systems offered by Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters.
There are many medical malpractice disputes in the United States, so if the medical record can be computerized and standardized, the medical mission in the United States will become more successful and standardized.
Coinciding with the 25th anniversary of the establishment of Tzu Chi New York chapter, TIMA and Queens County Dental Society collaborate to host a free clinic.
Originally, we thought that we just needed to simply check on the patient's teeth and give them some suggestions. However, I was surprised to see many volunteers and dentists come here to help us today. Also, the equipment can serve in dental cleaning and teeth extraction. Everything has gone beyond my expectations.
I went to a dentist to have my cavity filled, and afterwards I received acupuncture treatment. I am going to do the blood test later. This time, I can feel that all of the medical staff members are more professional and considerate.
Dental care, health checkups, blood tests, health lectures, and doctors from 19 different specialty departments joined to provide medical consultation.
Tzu Chi volunteers always help patients who are not covered by health insurance. This time, they gave us the opportunity to help the needy. The patients also felt grateful for Tzu Chi since they did everything possible to help them without any requirements. That's great.
because they offer a free medical clinic. Many people came seeking medical treatment. I think they are all very benevolent because all of their services are free of charge.
With more than 300 volunteers serving 220 residents in New York, love has been spread throughout this prosperous metropolitan city.
Meanwhile, on the west coast of the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers in California held a free clinic in Santa Ana, this time helping a total of 106 people. Amongst the patients seen was a woman who didn't have the means to seek dental treatment for the past 21 years. Now, thanks to Tzu Chi, her dental problem is finally taken care of.
Every season, Tzu Chi volunteers in Orange County, California, hold free clinics in Santa Ana. This is a great assistance for Spanish immigrants' families. After undergoing an eye examination and wearing a new pair of glasses, Arendira can finally look for a job to support her family. Ophelia was unable to seek dental treatment over the past 21 years because of the heavy economic burden on her family, leading her to suffer a toothache for a long time. Fortunately, she has received medical services at Tzu Chi's free clinic, where the dentist cares for her teeth carefully and teaches her how to brush. After this instruction, one can finally see a smile on her face. Medical staff from different departments, as well as Tzu Chi volunteers, smoothly deal with everything quite easily, surprising this Tima daughter who is joining the event for the first time.
All of the medical staff and volunteers here follow medical principles properly, and they are also familiar with a lot of things, like what we have just witnessed. They did a good job of offering medical services as well as operating medical equipment. I'm so surprised.
Patients who return to the free clinic also carry out the act of giving while making wishes from deep within their heart.
I want to help others because I always feel happy when doing good deeds. I hope I can keep passing on this kind of dedication and support to the needy.
Love has been passed on to the needy, as more than 100 patients at each free clinic always put coins into the bamboo coin bank, doing their parts to give back and contribute to the less fortunate.
In Malaysia, a pair of sisters sold their burial plots to donate the money to help Tzu Chi build an international school in the country. As this project is still a long ways from completion, it is hoped that more people will contribute to build a better tomorrow.
When she heard Tzu Chi wanted to build a school, Ng Chi Moi was quick to help by making steamed buns for charity sale.
I enjoy doing this. It's to fundraise for a school and a Jingsi hall, so I'm here.
The husbands of both Ng Chi Moi and her sister purchased burial plots for the two of them before they passed away. However, now the two sisters have decided to donate them.
My husband's wish is to build a school. If schools needed money, he would give it. My sister and I discussed it and decided to not go with the traditional ground burial, but cremation instead. So the money from selling the burial plot, we donated to Tzu Chi.
The two sisters' selfless giving has turned into an example for others to follow.
More people have responded to Tzu Chi's educational project in Malaysia. Recently, Tzu Chi Malacca chapter held 2 vegetarian banquets to thank those who were kind enough to donate money to the construction fund. Here in Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Malacca chapter are holding 2 banquets to raise funds to build a school. People from all walks of life have come to support this cause.
I hope this international school can teach the next generation and educate them about how to beautify our world.
A school's most important aspect is love. This new school will bring Malaysia a new teaching perspective and new points of view.
In society, if there were no education opportunities, there would be no hope. So thank you for bringing the children hope for a better tomorrow.
Meanwhile, volunteers also invited a world-renowned calligrapher to the banquets. He painted a piece at the banquet and donated to the Tzu Chi International School.
这张画的最大的含义就是
This artwork's biggest meaning is that I hope people in society can be more like you, Tzu Chi, working together to help build society into a better place.
为以后的工程。
在马六甲州
In Malacca State, we will have a good school, one more school filled with love for our children.
来为孩子造福。
80-year-old Yap Sui Fang donated 3,000 ringgits, which is her birthday present from her daughter, to the school building fund as well.
Education is important. Taking money is useless. Giving money is useful.
Building an education cultivation ground, everyone is committed to help see the completion of Malacca Tzu Chi International School. Staying in Malaysia, in Batu Ferringhi, Tzu Chi care recipient Angeline raises her son on her own since her husband is in prison. The heavy rainstorm that took place in July caused their roof to collect water, forming a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Unable to clean up on her own, Angeline asked Tzu Chi for help.
A group of volunteers are walking up the mountain. They are not hiking, instead they are heading to the house of a Tzu Chi care recipient, Angeline, to help clean up her living environment. Angeline has to raise her son alone since her husband is serving a sentence because of drug use. A torrential rain that took place in July led to mosquitoes breeding around their house. Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to clean up the environment for them.
I feel happy to help others.
This is my first time to help clean up someone's house since I was born. I think it's special and meaningful. I hope in the future I still have the opportunity to offer this kind of service.
I feel happy to do all these things. I am also glad that Tzu Chi brothers and sisters have come to help the care recipients clean up their house and clear away the trash.
Despite the heat, Tzu Chi volunteers do their part to help this mother-son pair weed and repair the rooftop of their house, hoping to quickly restore a more comfortable living environment for them.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Turkey returned to Taiwan on August 22nd and presented Master Cheng Yen with a detailed report of their work in the country. Over the past 2 years, despite Turkey's political tension, these Tzu Chi volunteers continue to make household visits, present scholarships for students, and help refugees acclimate to their new lives.
Tzu Chi has been providing assistance to Syrian refugee children in Turkey, allowing them to attend the Menahal primary and secondary school. These children wove a scarf combining 2 different country flags, symbolizing their love, which extends beyond borders. Tzu Chi volunteers present this special scarf to Master Cheng Yen.
Our goal is to have a world where more people want peace, or more that are compassionate, or not lose anyone who loves, or have less warfare. We hope that this can begin from childhood education, giving them this concept at an early age.
Turkey has already taken in more than 2.7 million refugees. Tzu Chi began distributing aid in the country in 2014, and in March of this year, a free clinic was established, helping 27,000 refugees. Care has also been extended to 4,000 households, along with sponsoring a youth study program.
跟我们是息息相关，所以我们很期待你这一些孩子，让他心中没有仇恨，他的爱心发挥出来。
Many people who have been helped are now willing to contribute as volunteers, indicating the important role carried out by Tzu Chi volunteers at the front lines of human suffering.
Recently, the Dean of Tzu Chi University's College of Humanities and Social Sciences and the former Chief of Cultural Affairs held a roundtable discussion at the Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology with the topic of how to enrich cultural and humanistic education in Taiwan's eastern regions. Here's more.
Before the start of the coming semester, the Chief of Tzu Chi's Educational Affairs, Tsai Bing-kun, invited the former Chief of Cultural Affairs, Hong Meng-chi, for a meeting at the Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology to discuss how to enrich cultural and humanistic education in Taiwan's eastern regions.
Hualian's creative works focus more on the cultural value rather than a price tag. We asked many of the Hualian's artists and craft people about their creative works, and they said their art is a means of expressing their spirit. So many end up staying here to cultivate their craft.
文化是非常温润的，它在生活里头的，那所以它的成
Culture is warm in the abstract because it lives inside of people's hearts and minds. It is passed on naturally from generation to generation. We say if the residents are happy, then the culture is healthy. I think culture is only something we can pass on if we respect what it is.
Tzu Chi has long been concerned with fostering humanistic education and an appreciation of culture among teachers and students. It is one of the hallmarks of Tzu Chi's educational mission. Now, the foundation wants to focus on enriching such programs closer to home by encouraging creative and cultural industries in Hualien.
大家的一起合作。
With everyone cooperating together, we will be able to accomplish the things we set out to do. We'll be able to bring communities closer together and highlight the values of this cultural inheritance. After people understand what humanism is worth, it will further enrich their lives.
Tzu Chi knows that culture and life are inseparable, and that's why Tzu Chi is making it a core aspect of Tzu Chi's educational mission moving forward.
The hunting of the protected fish, the humphead wrasse, by the owner of a guest house on Green Island has drawn the ire of the public and attention of conservationists around Taiwan. Actually, this fish, along with other reef fish around Green Island, has seen significant declines. Although Green Island attracts 300,000 tourists each year and has brought wealth to the island, the subsequent ecological disturbance cannot be discounted.
Do you want to take a picture of me? Just don't hurt me. You can come a little closer. I'm 20 years old and have another 30 years to live. The Taiwan government in 2014 listed me as an endangered protected species, but few would expect that 3 days later I would be killed.
而且尺寸非常惊人，得有2只手才能抬动。
移送法办。
Momentary greed led this man to hunt this fish, though he was soon brought to justice.
The killer of this humphead wrasse actually says he really regrets his actions.
According to an Academia Sinica survey over the past 20 years, only 7 adults and no juvenile humphead wrasses have appeared around Green Island.
The large amount of human fishing leads more young fish to be captured, which limits the species' reproductive capacity. In the future, the fish will experience a survival crisis.
In addition to the humphead wrasse, another fish around Green Island, the orbicular batfish, is also fighting for its life. On the south side of Green Island, the Iron Reef originally had a large group of batfish, which divers kept a close watch over. But in recent years, they have nearly all disappeared.
One batfish has a hole from a spear gun, as it seems like some people were hunting this fish, and then their numbers dropped dramatically.
Green Island's batfish numbers have dropped dramatically from 70 a decade ago to just 3 which remain. Fortunately, the species has found a way to survive away from Iron Reef, as their beautiful presence has been spotted at the Zhongliao fishing harbor.
I saw 3 batfishes. There were a mother and a father and a young one. When we were doing our scuba lesson, they came over near our feet to greet us.
While this news has excited many, diving instructor Chen Yixi continues to be low-key as he wants to continue marine conservation efforts. On Green Island, for the past 4 years, he has guarded the ocean, and 3 years served to police the ocean. But there's actually little he can do to stop the disappearance of fish.
In the past decade, I found that reef fish disappear very quickly. Of course, this was because local people were catching them.
Green Island's Taiko and Siliang protected marine areas along with the Iron Reef are 3 locations where it is prohibited to catch marine life. These 3 areas account for 5% of Green Island's seas.
The fish in this protected area have actually increased, but reef fish that aren't in these protected seas have indeed declined.
Green Island has more than 2,700 registered residents, with 25% of the population being fishermen and 75% being involved in the tourist industry. With the rise of tourism, the value of fish has become much larger than simply something served at a meal.
绿岛
Green Island is perfect for the diving and snorkeling industry. Local residents have in fact already begun to adopt the concept of caring for the local reefs and the batfish, as they know that these species are their cash cows.
The quality of the island's marine ecosystems will bring monetary benefits from sightseeing, but while local residents are in agreement over this issue, tourists don't have the same values.
For these tourists who go snorkeling or even diving or just swimming on the shore will have an impact on the ecological habitat of fish species. This is a problem.
部长不敢划为禁捕区，那就不要跟我讲什么永续观光了啦。
Legislators have proposed a complete ban on fishing within 3 nautical miles of Green Island, much like that of Xiaolilqiu, to allow marine life to recuperate.
We very much hope that Green Island's sea can be better protected, but I recommend the government undertake more communication and listen to public opinion, which is the most important issue.
Finding a balance point between the economy and ecology can be quite difficult. While humans can vote, who will express the views of marine life? In fact, one species shouldn't have the right to infringe upon the survival of another species. Humans have already caused extreme ecological imbalance, and the fact of the matter is that we may be forced to pay for the consequences of our actions.
In Taichung City, we'll meet a 14-year-old student who has just successfully finished her treatment for cancer. The courageous young girl completed a high-dose chemotherapy and a bone marrow transplant using her own previously extracted stem cells to combat the cancer. It was a very painful process, but thanks to the love and support of her grandmother, the brave young lady never gave up.
A 14-year-old student, Miss Yang, was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago after they found a tumor compressed between her heart and lungs. Doctors decided to use chemotherapy and an autologous bone marrow transplant for treatment.
Before, as everyone has often heard, with bone marrow transplants like those through Tzu Chi, marrow is taken from others and given to the patient. But Mrs. Yang's case is special. She will be able to use her own marrow for the transplant. Her stem cells that have been preserved will be given back to her.
Treating the highly developed lymphoma cancer was a very difficult process. Miss Yang faced general weakness and continuous vomiting, going 11 days without being able to ingest water. But the young lady stayed strong and accepted her treatment. Her grandmother stayed by her side throughout the process. Her courageous story earned her the Presidential Education Award this year.
Everyone has been telling me congratulations, and I can't help but cry. This has been such a painful experience.
You have been so selfless, caring for me and encouraging me every day. You all made me stay in the hospital much more enjoyable. Thank you.
Young Miss Yang says that with her parents away from the house and having only her grandmother for support, living conditions are not the best. Thinking of her grandmother's dedication and love inspired Miss Yang to keep her spirits strong to save her grandmother from heartbreak.
Tzu Chi in Melbourne, Australia held their annual Veggie Week campaign to help promote vegetarianism to more college students. This event was widely accepted by students from different universities. We will leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.